Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our fall webinar series, where we will introduce you to 8 different international universities. Over the next several weeks, we will be hearing directly from these universities about their programs, admissions processes, and everything in between. Tonight, I'm excited to have Leeds Beckett University from the UK with us to give us some insight into the many degrees they offer. I'm particularly excited about a special undergraduate program that will allow ambitious soccer players pursue a degree while developing their soccer skills with a prestigious soccer academy in the UK. This webinar is organized by Global College Advisors, and you will hear more about GCA in just a moment. Before we dive into the presentation, I want to mention a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function instead of the chat. We will have a Q&A session after the presentation, and it will be easier for the presenter to get to your questions if you put them into the Q&A. Finally, this webinar is being recorded, and we plan on posting the video on our YouTube channel later on. So please hop over to the Global College Advisors YouTube channel and check there if you would like to rewatch some of the information. And with that, let's move into some introductions. For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Cornelia Betschart-Fortes, the founder of Global College Advisors, also GCA in short. We connect students with universities all over the world, including the United States. Global College Advisors provides personalized college consulting and helps students explore both US and international options to find the best academic and financial fit. From college research to application strategy, we are here to support students every step of the way. Tonight, we will hear from Leeds Beckett University, located in the vibrant city of Leeds, which is one of the largest student cities in the UK. And with that, let me introduce our speaker for tonight. I am pleased to have Alex Uckelberg with us this evening. He is the International Development Officer of Leeds Beckett University for the US, and he will guide us through tonight's presentation. Alex completed his graduate degree in the UK and is now based in Los Angeles, California, and he helps interested students with the application process to Leeds Beckett University. If you are a student from the United States, Alex is the one you want to speak to if you have any questions about any financial aid awards and the visa process, or even if you just want to talk about studying in the UK. So welcome, Alex. I will stop sharing my screen now. And yeah, please go ahead and take it away from here.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let me pull up. Okay. Thank you for having me on the show tonight. Like was mentioned before, my name is Alex Uckelberg. I am the International Development Officer for Leeds Beckett University. And we are here to talk a little bit about the university and then more specifically about our partnership with I2I Soccer Academy. So just as a little general introduction, the city of Leeds, many people are not quite familiar of that from the US. As you can see on our map here, we're technically in what they call the north of England. As an American, I kind of think it's central, but they call it the north of England. We're about 30 minutes from Manchester by train, between London and Edinburgh, about halfway. So centrally based in England. We have our own international airport as well as Manchester right next door that connects us well to the rest of Europe and the rest of the UK. There are actually 5 different universities in the city of Leeds with over 60,000 students. So the city itself is kind of catered towards the student life. There is really good public transportation, plenty of student housing. A lot of our students work part-time jobs, good accommodation. So it's a really good opportunity for students who want to go over to the UK and get an experience, but it's still set up really well to cater towards students. In the Leeds Beckett alone, we have over 100 different nationalities in terms of our student body. And we're based in the Yorkshire community, which is something that we're really proud of at Leeds Beckett. Here's just kind of a general overview of the subject areas that we have. Like I said, we'll touch more specifically on our program with I2I later on, but I just wanted to give us a general list of, we have undergrad and graduate programs in all of these different subject areas. We have two campuses at Leeds Beckett. So we have our city campus, which is based in the heart of Leeds in the city center. This is where our business school and our law school, as well as our fine arts schools, are based. In 2021, we opened a brand new $40 million fine arts building that includes our film school, which I'll touch base on here soon. So we have two different campuses. Like I said, city campus is based in city, and then Headingley campus is where all of our athletic programs are held, as well as our education and some of the other degree programs. They're connected by public transportation. There's a free shuttle that goes back and forth between the campuses, and it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. So we have the ability to be in the heart of Leeds, connected to all the industry and all the businesses in the city center, and then you can actually go out to Headingley campus and have more space, more of what we would think of a traditional college campus, with a big quad, very old buildings, classic what Americans think of in terms of like British architecture. As you can see, here's our Headingley campus. We have 94 acres just on Headingley campus. We're about a 15-minute bus ride to city center. And this is where our School of Sport and Education, we have a huge library out here. We have a brand new, well, I guess it's not brand new anymore. It was opened technically in 2021, Carnegie School of Sport building. That was a $45 million investment that we made into our sporting, into the School of Sport, as well as our athletic programs. So we have, like I said, sports, education, events, hospitality, tourism, computing, and education courses are all based on Headingley's campus. I wanted to touch base really quickly before I hop into I2I on the Northern Film School. We're really proud of our offer in terms of having a really good public film school in the UK. It's one of the top in the UK. We offer a bachelor's in filmmaking. We also have some master's programs that we offer. It's actually one of the top film schools in the UK. And I think this year it's just come out that it is the top public film program that's not dedicated specifically to a school that has just film. So it's the top like public film program in the UK. So now kind of the meat of the presentation, what we wanted to talk about is our relationship with I2I and the International Soccer Academy. Leeds Beckett and I2I Soccer Academy partner, and it allows ambitious student athletes the opportunity to study a full-time degree program alongside a full-time soccer academy experience to develop their skills both on the field and in the classroom to kind of the best of their ability. Our partnership means that our courses run alongside what a pro-level soccer development program would look like, and we timetable them specifically to maximize time. So for example, the academics all happen in the morning. You don't have to worry about missing classes. And then in the afternoon, you have your full-time training. So compared to other places or in the US where you might have to juggle your scheduling around training, classes, game times, and that kind of stuff, we have tailored this program specifically to allow you to do a full-time educational load as a student at Leeds Beckett while training with the I2I Soccer Academy and being in a full-time high-level academy program for football in the country that is probably most famous for the sport. So here is a list of our specific I2I academic programs. So you saw on a previous slide, we had a list of all the courses that we have to offer. These are the courses that we currently have on offer in partnership with I2I that will allow you that specific timetable. So right now, our first year we had 5. This is our second year, and we've bumped it up to, I believe, 12 undergraduate courses. As you can see, we cover a wide variety of subjects. We've got a few different sporting ones, some business, computer science, and cybersecurity, as well as some art and design courses that are all available with the morning-only timetable. In terms of entry requirements for US students, we have actually maintained our flexible entry requirements post-COVID. We've had good success with students without needing standardized testing. So we require a 3.0 unweighted high school GPA out of a 4.0 scale. And as I mentioned, we are test optional, guaranteed for September 2025, and that will continue to get reevaluated as we go. Just kind of to keep in mind in the back of your head, our optional test standards are a 1270 SAT, a 26 ACT, or having 2 APs with a 3 or above on the AP test. From what I can tell, I believe that will remain test optional for the foreseeable future, but just kind of as a benchmark, those are the numbers that we're looking at if we ever decided to go back to requiring standardized tests. In terms of football, our students train in our brand new Carnegie School of Sport building. So the students will train 5 days a week on state-of-the-art 3G pitches in our Carnegie School of Sport building and complex. They have full access to coaching, strength and conditioning, athletic training, nutrition, wellness support is all included in that program. So you really get the full athletic experience that you would receive at a football academy. Our coaches are all UAFA Pro and A licensed coaches, and they all have playing and or coaching experience at the top level in the Premier League. So, you know, this is an opportunity that we get to bring in all these Premier League coaches and work with our students. You work with them every day. Like I said, training is 5 days a week, and a little bit later on, we'll talk about what our game schedules look like and that kind of stuff. Football matches. So as part of the training program, students do compete in the Bucks League, which is the NCAA equivalent for those of you that are from the US. So every Wednesday you would compete in a Bucks game. And then on top of that, students also compete for I2I's U21 and U23 league teams. So they're placed in external leagues that they compete in within the FA system based in the UK. Along with that, they also run different exhibition games against professional soccer academies. And I know that they have taken a few different trips over the course of the last few years. I know they went to Spain for a trip and played in some matches. They played an exhibition match in Germany one year. So there are different opportunities that kind of crop up throughout the year for students to get even more exposure for their soccer playing. As I kind of mentioned previously, there's a lot of matches. All of our I2I students will get playing time on various teams. Most of our students are able to play 35 plus matches over the 9-month season, barring any injury or something like that. One of, I think, the big draws for students to come to the UK and come to this type of program is you have a 9-month season there compared to a 3-month season that we're used to in the US. So that season gets spread out over the course of 9 months. You get plenty of more chances to train and play and to continue to kind of develop that soccer skill, along with achieving that degree that you would get at any kind of university. In terms of support, the I2I program, students have full access to all the support that Leeds Beckett University offers. They are full-time Leeds Beckett University students, and you will graduate with a Leeds Beckett University degree. So in terms of help with application, financial aid, visa support, once you arrive on campus, any mental health support that you would need, student clinic. We have a global village, which is a department that we've dedicated specifically to our international students that helps with things like, hey, I'm homesick, or adjusting to British culture that you would maybe not necessarily know about before. For example, I like to say our global village always puts on a Thanksgiving dinner for all of our American students, because it's not a holiday that you celebrate over in the UK, but the global village comes together on Thanksgiving, puts together a big Thanksgiving meal, and so all the US students are invited, and it's just kind of a nice touch for students that are away from home and maybe missing family and don't have that time off that we would normally get. So a lot of things that the university has, the students are obviously able to access all of those things as I2I students. Then specific, even more like specific for I2I students, you have all the coaching, you get specific strength and conditioning, you get nutrition, there are different mental health services. The I2I program also has their own team doctors, team physios, team athletic trainers. And so you really do get the full gambit of student support from a combination of Leeds Beckett University and I2I. In terms of housing, so all of our I2I students are actually housed in Carnegie Village, which is our best on-campus housing, right on Headingley campus, directly next to the soccer pitches and the Carnegie School of Sport. So for those of you that are studying a sport course and your courses are also in that building, you are going to walk about 100 feet a day to get to your training and to classes, and it's all kind of in one. All of our I2I students live in apartment blocks together. You can certainly, there are exceptions and you can request to live separately, but oftentimes we find it's good to kind of build that camaraderie. So I2I students live in apartment blocks together. Each student has their own room. There's just a shared living space and access to a kitchen. So it's not like in the US where you go into a dorm room and you'll share the same room as a student. Everyone has their own room. You'll share a bathroom with one other person, and then you'll share a shared kitchen space with, I think, 8 students total. So it's a big living space and a big kitchen with semi-private bathrooms and then your own private room. And as I mentioned, Carnegie Village is right next to our training facilities on Headingley campus, which is really convenient considering the schedule that the I2I students have. They're pretty heavy academic in the morning, and then they can go directly to training in the afternoon. In terms of cost, which is always kind of the big question, how much is this going to cost me? Our I2I Soccer Academy comes as a package. So tuition for any of our programs on I2I is going to be 13,800 British pounds. The soccer portion is 12,500 pounds, and the accommodation is 7,200 pounds for a total of 33,500 pounds for the year. Now, that covers obviously all of your tuition, all of your accommodation. That includes all of your soccer. So all of the travel, the uniforms, the coaching. That number right there is quite transparent in terms of what it's going to cost you outside of spending money on food or any extra like fun money that you're going to spend. The other notable costs that I kind of just mentioned, because I think it's worth talking about, obviously flights to and from the UK that you are responsible for on your own, and then just the one-time charges of your student visa up front, which would be the student visa charge and then the NHS surcharge. For those of you, I'll touch on the surcharge just quickly. For those American students, that's essentially like having health insurance in the UK. So it gets you onto the NHS system and you have full access to their system. So let's say you need to schedule a doctor's appointment, there will be no fee. Heaven forbid you get hurt or something happens and you need an ambulance, you won't pay for an ambulance. I mean, maybe you would end up, if for some reason you needed a prescription, there might be some small out-of-pocket cost, but largely that is good health insurance for students. So it's a bit of a hefty charge up front, but that covers you for all 3 years of your student visa. In terms of other financial aid we offer, many of our students do choose to use financial aid to help fund their studies. We do accept FAFSA at Leeds Beckett University, so students are eligible to take out federal loans. Obviously, there's the subsidized and unsubsidized loans, and then Parent Plus loans. Unfortunately, worth noting, Pell Grants are not eligible to be taken overseas. So if you're eligible for a Pell Grant in the US, that cannot follow you over to the UK, but the rest of the loans you are eligible for. Some of our students also choose to go into private funding like Sallie Mae or these different other companies to help fund their studies. And then on our student visa, you are able to work up to 20 hours a week. So again, another way that our students kind of help fund the program. Just kind of a general overview of the application process and what that would look like. So for our I2I students, initially you have to become accepted onto the soccer program first. So that involves working with the head of recruitment on the I2I team. His name's Corey Roper. Film, talking to coaches, everything that you would expect in terms of like being recruited as a student athlete. Once you get approved on the I2I side, then you start working with me. So I help you submit your application, go over your offer, look at FAFSA. I help the visa process when it comes through. So once we submit your application, you'll end up receiving an academic offer from us. You'll accept your offer. Then we go through the application process or making a private payment. Then you can go through the CAS request and your visa application, apply for your student visa. Once you have your student visa in hand, hopefully sometime in the end of July, early August, you're ready to arrive. You can arrive in the UK up to 1 month ahead of your start date on your student visa. Our I2I students tend to move in a little bit earlier than our regular students so they can get acclimated and start at training. But that just kind of depends on what you're comfortable with and what your timeline is in that process. Like I said, the contacts here for our I2I program, your main contact for any of the academic Leeds Beckett University side would be me. I can kind of help get you through the application process and some of the other steps involved. You will work with our US loans team, you will work with our admissions team off and on throughout, but I'm the first point of contact. And then Corey Roper is the head of recruitment at I2I, and so you would definitely be on a meeting with him and work with their team throughout the process as well. And that is all I have. Happy to take questions or hand it back over. Hope you're on mute.
Thanks. So thank you so much for this fantastic presentation, Alex. What a great opportunity for student athletes. So hold on, let's see. While we are moving into the Q&A, let me just share our last screen here with all the contact information. Please feel free, everyone, to take a screenshot of Alex's contact information so you can get a hold of him if you have more specific follow-up questions. So let's see. You did a really good presentation covering everything.
Thank you.
So I don't really see any questions that haven't already been addressed in your presentation. Let me ask you a couple of questions that I have for you. So regarding the soccer part, first of all, is the soccer academy available for both female and male players, or maybe you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, good question. So we do have both male and female teams starting in September 2025. This will be our third year working with I2I, and we've been really, really happy and excited with the direction that they've been going. So we are accepting applications for both male and female players for September 2025.
Okay, perfect, awesome. And you explained it kind of in terms of the application process. You have to start out your application. Well, not the application, to get into the program. You have to start out by contacting the coach and almost like getting recruited by the coach. Is that correct? I mean, do they recruit, so to say?
So we do recruit. I don't do a ton of that initial piece with the soccer side, so oftentimes they get approved on that end first. So normally how it happens is we have a lot of traveling clinics that we do throughout the US. So we'll go up and down the California coast, we'll go along the East Coast, we go down into Florida, we've gone into Texas, and they'll do ID clinics, which gives a chance for students to actually see people in person. So for example, I'm based in Southern California. We did a clinic in Irvine, we did a clinic in LA, then we went up to San Jose and up to San Francisco. So we kind of went all the way up the coast. That's one good way for students to kind of get seen and get in touch and get in contact. You don't have to attend one of those ID clinics. You can just get in touch over the phone or over email with I2I. And that's kind of how you'll start the process. They'll kind of go through, what they're looking for, their expectations. Really, we are doing recruiting, but we want to give both parties a chance to decide, like, is this a good fit for you? Because it is a pretty significant commitment, even just from a time perspective. Like, you're going to class from 9 a.m. to noon every single day, and then you are training soccer 5 days a week from 1 p.m. to oftentimes 5 p.m. So you've got a busy day and a busy schedule. And so they do recruit, and there is a recruitment process that they go through, and they will watch film and they will probably contact coaches. But we also want to make sure on our end that this is a good fit for both of us, because it's maybe not a good fit for everyone. But for those who really want to pursue soccer at a higher level, I don't know that there's any program like it that still offers you a chance to study full-time academically and come out with a degree.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's the appeal of you guys' program here. Really,
yeah.
That's really a great thing for athletes. So in terms of the level, though, that a soccer player has to have to even be, able to apply, so to say, do they have to be like on the level of a soccer academy here in the US that they have a chance to get into the program, or what's the level kind of?
I don't think so. I'm definitely not the soccer expert. I would say that having a conversation is a good place to start. I know, depending on level, I think level is important, but I think they're also concerned with buy-in. I think we have a really good coaching staff, and we have really good training opportunities and facilities. And I think our coaching staff is really confident in their ability to help kids improve throughout their career. And you get 9 months a year, not like 3 months in the US. So you have a long time to improve. So we do have people come in at varying levels, but I think they have different opportunities to kind of prove themselves and to improve. So I don't think your level should make you not reach out. Maybe you reach out and maybe you guys collectively decide this isn't a good fit. Um, but from what I've seen, I think reaching out to them, they're going to be able to give you a really good idea right off the bat, like, hey, is this something that's going to work for us or not? So like I said, I don't know a lot about like the soccer specifics. I never played soccer, but I think reaching out to them, they will be able to have a really good conversation with you about, about how you're going to fit into the program.
Okay, right. So from what I'm hearing from you is definitely reach out and kind of start
Definitely.
the conversation and then see where that gets you.
Definitely.
Okay, perfect. And in terms of the financial piece that you mentioned, since obviously only the FAFSA loans are being accepted,
Mhm.
do you guys offer any scholarships for US students?
So this is definitely one of the major considerations is as part of the package, the tuition is already discounted, as is the accommodation from the university end. And so students are not eligible for like any of our in-house scholarships that we have for students. We still will accept external scholarships. Every year we get students from the US who take some external scholarships over, and we are happy to accept those. But from the university perspective, since the tuition and accommodation is already discounted from what our regular students do, they're not eligible actually for any of our other scholarships.
Okay, okay, well, that's good to know. So, but actually, if you look at the tuition and the whole cost of attendance, it's a pretty good deal compared
It is a
to
pretty good deal.
those
Yeah.
American
I mean, compared to
university.
American universities, you could end up what the I2I program will cost you is oftentimes what you end up paying at an American university without the soccer piece.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it is quite competitive and comparable. Obviously, there are some options for junior college or some state schools that you
right,
might pay
right,
a little bit less, but a large majority of the schools that you're looking at in the US, it's going to be quite competitive.
right, right. Then a different, more academic question in terms of what do you consider the most popular majors at Leeds Beckett?
So for our I2I students, I would say it's quite different than our average student. So for our I2I students, I think our sports courses are quite popular.
Mhm.
Obviously, they're coming in. A lot of them are soccer players. They're interested. We have really, really good sports business coach or courses. So our sport business management is really popular. Our sport and exercise science is quite popular. We even have like sports journalism, sports marketing. Um, with the I2I program, we this year started offering computer science and cybersecurity. That has been of interest to a lot of our students, I think, as it is probably at most universities with the growing
Mhm.
technologies. So that is something that our students have gone for. And even our regular business courses have done quite well. So I would say the most popular right now are our sport business management and then computer science. Um, for university as a whole, I would say those two things are similar. I would say our regular business course might be a little more common than the sport one. And then our fine arts, kind of like I mentioned before, we've got some really good fine arts programs that are quite popular with our everyday students.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, thank you for that. And for the students, I'm assuming, so I read something on the webpage where it says regarding internships and that their like work placements are built into the program in a way, right? So I'm assuming the athletes won't have much time to do that, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe you tell me
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah,
that works, but maybe
yeah.
also in regards to other students that might be interested in going to Leeds Beckett, how does that piece look, the internship and research part?
Totally. So for our general students, we have in many of our courses have what's called a sandwich year, which we probably aren't familiar with in the US, but essentially between year two and year three, you basically have 1 year of no lectures and just an internship, essentially, and that makes your degree a 4 year degree. With our I2I program, like you said, the schedule is a little more restricted. I know our sport business management and some of the sports degrees have worked really hard to still maintain getting some of that work experience in. So they'll do smaller, like week or 2 weeks or 3 week long internships or work experiences that they have available. I know some of our students have also done like summer internships because we're not in class and we're not in session in the summer. Um, so yeah, there's a little bit of limiting factors with the I2I program, but I think especially our sports school has done a really good job of finding ways to implement those in the course, even for our I2I students.
Mhm. That's really great. That's perfect. And in terms of work options after, once they're finished with a degree at your university, um, how long can they stay on in the UK and possibly get work experience after that, for example, right?
Yeah, good question. So many of our I2I students, their goal is to sign a professional contract. We have alum who've signed contracts kind of all over Europe and a few back in the US. We're not talking Premiership League. We do not have any in the Premier League. But we have students who have signed in Germany, have signed in Sweden, have signed in some of the lower leagues in the UK. We have students who've come back to the US and signed, I think, in the second league in the US, so not the MLS, but the league below. So we do have alumni who've signed professional contracts playing football. If not, you kind of have a choice. You can bring your degree back to the US. It's fully accredited, so you can come back immediately. Currently, there is a graduate student visa that is available for students who've completed a course in the UK that would allow them to, you have to reapply. So you apply for the graduate student visa and you're allowed to work in the UK for up to 2 years without having a work sponsor. So if you're not quite familiar with how that works for students who maybe this hasn't been on your radar, you can't just live in the UK without a visa. So as a student, you'll come as a Leeds Beckett student on a student visa. Once you graduate, like I said, you can apply for a work visa that would allow you to stay in the UK for 2 years afterwards, working, gaining experience. You can work full time. And then you can attempt to find a company or a job that will sponsor you a visa to stay, or you can decide to come back home after that.
Okay, that's for the once you have finished your undergraduate, right?
Once you finish your undergrad degree.
And
Yep.
with the graduate, it's actually, if I heard that correctly, you say you don't even need a sponsor to stay on for work.
Correct. So that's the
Okay.
appeal. Yeah, the
That's
appeal
really
of the
great.
graduate degree is right now. So those rules have been changing back and forth, actually. So currently, you have 2 years that you can apply. You can stay in the UK. You can work. For example, when I did my program, it actually wasn't available, so you couldn't stay after. So you will want to kind of keep your eyes on that. But since COVID, post-COVID, it has remained the same. So you have 2 years on a graduate visa where you don't need a work sponsor. You can work full time.
Okay, well, that's good information. And in terms of, high school students maybe want to find out first, okay, is the UK for me? Do you guys have any summer programs, not only soccer summer programs, but maybe also some academic summer programs for high school students?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'll start with the soccer portion. The soccer portion has some different what they call taster trips. So they'll do 1 or 2 in the fall, and then they try to time some around spring break where you come for 10 days. You train full time as if you would be in the academy. So you train full time, you see the academics, you see the university, you meet the coaches, you kind of get a taste of what that actually would look like. And then they have a longer summer program, which I believe is 4 weeks long. And so you come for 4 weeks and you train and you get to see the facilities, you get to work with the coaches. You're not on an academic program, but you get to be there and you kind of get that experience to see if that's something you're interested in. Academically, as a university for non-I2I students now, we do have some summer academic stuff. Not much of it is ever tailored to many US students. So we don't often have US students who come to a summer program. Most of it is honestly English language based. So it's for students who don't speak English as a first language. However, at any point throughout the year, you can certainly come visit us, and we're happy to give you a tour. We can set you up with meetings with the academics for programs that you're interested in. You can meet the rest of my team. So I'm part of Europe and North American team. I'm the only one that's based in the US. We have others who are based in the UK. So you can meet the rest of our team, get a tour of campus. You can kind of get a feel. So there are certainly different options, and we're happy to work with students to kind of figure out what works best for them and what they're looking for.
Okay, perfect. That's really good to know. And one other question, since you kind of mentioned that with the summer school outside of the soccer part, how about students that might not have the GPA yet, to enter directly? Do you guys have a foundation year? Because I know some UK universities do have a foundation year that leads into a degree program, right?
Yep, that is a really good question. So we do have some foundation years. There's a few caveats, I think, from the US. Federal funding is not eligible, so none of the FAFSA loans are eligible for the foundation years, so that would be completely self-funded. We have some foundation years that are specific to some of our programs, so some of them are kind of like a pre-law program, essentially, where you're on a foundation year and you're going directly into law. We have the same thing for a few different other programs. We don't have a general foundation year anymore. We actually ended up getting rid of ours after COVID. Like you said, some schools do, some don't. What we do have is we have a partner in the city of Leeds who you would come do your foundation with our study group partner, and then that would allow you to get onto a program at Leeds Beckett. So we don't specifically run it, but we still do offer that in the city of Leeds, that you could then come into a degree program in the UK if you currently don't meet our academic requirements.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Well, thank you so much for all this insight into Leeds Beckett University, Alex. That's really helpful. And so let me see. So yeah, as there are no further questions, I will go ahead and close the webinar for tonight. For everyone who joined us a bit later, please know that the webinar has been recorded, and we will post it on our Global College Advisors YouTube channel later on this month. Thank you so much again for this wonderful presentation, Alex. I learned a lot, and it's an absolute great opportunity, I think, for athletes or soccer players that want to continue their development during their studies at universities. Really appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight, Alex. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And last but not least, our next webinar this upcoming Saturday at 10 a.m. will be with Modul University from Austria. And next week, please note that our webinar during the week will be on Tuesday at 5 p.m. instead of Wednesday. And our guest will be IE University from Spain. You can find the full webinar schedule on our website, and you can register there as well. And with this, I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your evening. Take care, goodbye, and see you on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.